Hello, I'm James Izimoha. Welcome to Africa News. Let's see your headlines. Mixed reactions in war-torn Sudan as residents return to shattered infrastructure. Rwanda boosts Africa's digital transformation by hosting Mobile World Congress in Kigali. Morocco's aerospace industry receives $232 million investment boost from Safran Group. Thank you for joining us. In Sudan, the sound of recovery is mixed with frustration as residents return to shattered infrastructure months after the fighting slowed, with water and electricity among the hardest hit. The struggle to rebuild daily life is proving just as difficult as surviving the war itself.
Since returning home to the war-ravaged capital, residents of Khartoum, Omdurman and neighboring Bari have been waking up to new challenges. Prior to this conflict, many here had open access to safe drinking water. But now, as the hard work of rebuilding continues, few can boast of such a luxury. Residents now rely on donkey-drawn carts to transport water from far-flung solar-powered wells, and the cart owners have to endure long hours in queues to fill their containers.
We are suffering greatly from the water crisis. In fact, all the residents of Bahri city are suffering from water outages. Even our electricity was cut off and only came back 3 days ago.
The prevailing situation cuts to healthcare, education and social services, all of which were disrupted by the conflict. The state of the economy is also in shambles, and the cost of living is taking its toll on many households.
There is also an increase in prices of approximately 100 to 200%. Citizens do not have enough money or sufficient sources of income or business, so the situation is a war situation.
At the state level, governing authorities say they are working in phases to address the most pressing challenges. Repairs have already begun on several public amenities, but they say the process will take time.
In the coming period in Khartoum state, we will begin intensive work on basic services, including water, electricity, health, education and roads, as many roads have been damaged and require annual maintenance and rehabilitation.
Since the army's successful recapture of Khartoum in March, more than 800,000 people have returned to the capital. They finally have a place to call home, but face a long and challenging road to recovery.
As digital and AI technologies reshape the global economy, Africa is stepping up, using mobile tools to power innovation and inclusion. But experts warn that millions remain disconnected even as connectivity spreads. Organizers of the Mobile World Congress in Kigali say it's a race to ensure no one is left behind in the continent's digital transformation.
Mobile phones, laptops and other smart devices have become essential tools of daily life in today's digital and AI-driven world. Across Africa, mobile technology is transforming lives, from mobile banking to e-health to education and agriculture. With 4G and 5G networks expanding, the continent is unlocking new digital opportunities. However, a wide gap still remains in access to these mobile tools between the rich and the poor, according to experts.
Africa, there's been a lot of progress that have been made over the last 15 years. Connectivity has increased, the footprint has increased, but the usage has not followed. We still have about 60% of usage gap. So it means that those are places where people are connected, but they are not using the internet. Why? Because of essentially two things. Number one is the cost of devices. It's still expensive for so many people. And secondly, because they are not skilled to use this.
Here in Kigali, thousands of tech leaders, innovators and policymakers are gathered for the Mobile World Congress, Africa's biggest connectivity event. They agree connectivity is the foundation of Africa's digital economy, unlocking jobs, education and essential services. But a major challenge remains: Millions still live within network range, yet stay offline due to the cost of data and limited digital skills. Rwanda's president, Paul Kagame, says these challenges also present opportunities, urging Africa to harmonize its policies for a shared digital future.
While the challenges Africa faces are significant, they also offer great growth potential if we collaborate. Governments, the private sector, and other partners should harmonize policies and create the right environment for innovation.
According to the International Telecommunication Union, achieving meaningful global connectivity by 2030 could cost up to $2.8 trillion, with Africa accounting for $900 billion of that investment.
Morocco is taking flight with a major new investment that could redefine its place in global aviation. A partnership with France's Safran Group is set to position the country among the few with full aircraft engine production and assembly capacities.
Moroccan King Mohammed VI presided over the launch of Safran's new industrial complex in Noisser, near Casablanca. Safran Group CEO Olivier Andreas detailed the strategic rationale behind selecting Morocco for this flagship investment. Safran currently employs 5,000 people in the North African Kingdom.
By deciding to establish this new aircraft engine complex in Morocco, our group has chosen a country with talent and modern infrastructure. This ecosystem is based primarily on talent development.
The development of this sector is the result of a royal vision for the aviation industry in the country. The ambitious project will introduce new technologies and specialized professions to Morocco's national aviation industry.
The Moroccan Institute of Aeronautics and the institute which specializes in aeronautics and airport logistics, which were inaugurated by Her Majesty in 2011 and 2013, constitute the cornerstone of the training system dedicated to aeronautics professions.
The project will produce 350 engines annually, accounting for 30% of total global production. This will position Morocco as the second largest producer of LEAP-2 engines, a global bestseller.
This landmark agreement places the Kingdom of Morocco at the heart of global aerospace industry, joining a select group of 5 nations with integrated manufacturing capabilities for jet engines. This is unprecedented in North Africa and in the whole African continent.
By 2030, Morocco aims to fully assemble aircraft domestically, a landmark ambition that would make it Africa's first nation with complete end-to-end aircraft manufacturing and assembly capabilities.
As Ivory Coast heads to the polls this Saturday, a town once scarred by election violence is sending a powerful message of unity through what it calls reconciliation marriages. Local peace builders say love is the path to lasting peace.
The town of Doukwé was torn apart by election violence over a decade ago. But as Ivory Coast prepares for another election on Saturday, peace activists here say they've hit on a way to prevent further bloodshed. They are promoting reconciliation marriages between rival groups. In recent years, dozens of men and women from different communities have tied the knot. That's thanks to activities organized by the local non-profit Olympia, which offers support and counseling to couples. Olympia director Alexis Kango.
I see a very promising future in the sense that marriages will create many grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and it will be one bloodline, the mixed Guerre Dioula bloodline. You see, there are people who will live together and therefore will be obliged to share everything in terms of inheritance and language.
Ivory Coast has seen a history of fraught elections and has not held a completely peaceful vote since 1995, according to International Crisis Group. Former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo's refusal to accept a defeat in a 2010 election prompted a brief civil war in which 3,000 people were killed. In Dukwe, hundreds were killed in inter-ethnic violence as now President Alassane Ouattara's forces advanced on Ivory Coast's main urban centre, Abidjan. Though the lead-up to this year's elections has been calm, Olympia is pressing on its work. They're planning a mass civil ceremony with 10 weddings early next year. One couple who embraced the initiative is Martinez Podi from the Gare Group and Elisabel Guadio-Awo, a Baule. They married in 2012, a year after the massacre in Dukwe. At first, both Guadio and Podi's parents were against their union.
The Guere people are, that's it, they're really greedy. They don't really reach out to others. And then, well, we are criticized for being cannibalistic. People who eat humans. You see, all of that is prejudice. Today, we really live in harmony.
Once famed for its turquoise waters and lush oases, Tunisia's coastal city of Gabes now stands as a stark symbol of industrial decay. Residents are demanding answers and action as pollution, illness, and anger boil over around the city's phosphate plant.
The coastal city of Gabes in Tunisia once boasted glistening waters, but now the sky is choked with smog and the waves run dark with rust-colored streaks. A generation ago, Gabes was an ecological jewel of green oases. Today, the town is a toxic wasteland rife with cancer, respiratory illness, and bone disease. Residents, environmentalists, and officials say they know the culprit: a phosphates processing plant run by the state-owned Tunisian Chemical Group, or CGT. Its smokestacks loom over the beaches. This month, anger at the plant exploded into one of the biggest challenges to President Kais Saied's power since he took office in 2019. Police fired tear gas to disperse protesters who stormed the complex. It is hard to find families whose lives here are not shaped by sickness and loss. Rima El Haji described how her 9-year-old daughter started gasping and walking slower about a month ago. Her daughter is among dozens of other students apparently affected by toxic emissions. She says, "It's a nightmare. There's no life here. There's no life left in Gabes. You live here and you see your own child like this." Amina Mansour lives in a modest brick house caked with dust and chemical residue. Her shelves are packed with medications to treat osteoporosis and the throat cancer she discovered 6 years ago. Her neighbor Maha Mahmoud holds up an inhaler, which she says everyone in Gabes lives with. She calls it, quote, our daily bread. Her only demand, she says, is to dismantle the chemical plant. She says, as long as the chemical complex remains standing, we can't breathe. We have no hope in life. Built a half-century ago, the Gabes complex is Tunisia's biggest phosphates processing plant and accounts for over half of its phosphate output. The industry provides vital revenues for a government beset by soaring debt and weak growth. Caught between the unrest and flagging state finances, authorities have vowed to rehabilitate the plant. President Saied has described conditions in Gabes as, quote, environmental assassination, but blamed a previous government and called on ministries to fix chemical leaks.
Well, that's all we have today in African News. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to A News.